No one noticed when Julian Vance vanished. Not really. There was no headline, no search party, no shock tributes from colleagues or friends. Just an empty studio apartment above a rundown coffee shop in Detroit, and a pair of paint-stained boots left by the door. To the world, Julian was a man who had it all. Standing ovations, sold-out exhibits, magazine covers hailing him as the visual voice of a generation. But for Julian, the death of his art had begun the day the applause got louder than the silence he once painted from. He hadn't always been silent. As a child in Baltimore, Julian was a storm bottled inside a small boy's chest. His father died an overdose when Julian was 9. His mother worked 2 shifts and slept through the rest. Julian didn't speak for nearly a year. But he drew, first on napkins, then on walls, then in school notebooks. He painted grief with such clarity. His teachers cried without understanding why. They called it brilliance. But brilliance has a price. As he rose, so did the demands. Galleries wanted themes. Patrons wanted emotion, but not too raw. Advertisers offered contracts with hidden clause. Make it lighter, brighter, safer. Julian became a brand. His pain was curated. And the louder the applause grew, the quieter his soul became. He smiled on camera. He gave interviews about meaning. But inside, he was hollowed out. Then, after his final exhibit, praised as a triumph of modern realism, he vanished. No goodbye, no farewell tour. Just a blank canvas, still wet, and those boots by the door. For 5 years, Julian disappeared. Some said rehab. Others whispered breakdown. A few even speculated suicide. But he was alive, far from the noise, in a dying New Mexico town called Esperanza, where the desert swallowed secrets whole. He lived in a rusting trailer at the edge of town. Grocery clerk by day, ghost by night. He painted behind closed curtains, only at dusk, as if the sun's exit gave him permission to exist. His neighbors knew him as Mr. V, the quiet man who didn't talk much but always helped carry heavy bags. Julian no longer signed his work. Sometimes he left pieces in thrift shops or taped them to telephone poles. Anonymous art, forgotten before it was ever found. Until the knock came. It was a boy, 16, maybe younger. Skinny, dirty sneakers, wild hair. He held one of Julian's discarded paintings like scripture. "You did this?" he asked. Julian said nothing, but the boy came back the next day. And the next. His name was Ezra. His voice cracked with a stutter. His mother overdosed 2 years ago. His father? Prison. Ezra didn't want to be famous. He just wanted to feel something that didn't hurt. Slowly, Julian let him in. What began with Ezra became something else entirely. A runaway girl named Mia showed up. Then Deshaun, a boy fresh out of juvenile detention. Then Alondra, who had been couch surfing after her stepfather kicked her out. Julian found an abandoned bus depot on the edge of town. The walls were chipped, the windows broken, but it had space and silence. With some help, he turned it into a studio, a place for the kids to paint, not to impress, not perform, but to bleed. The floor was always stained. The air always smelled of turpentine and old vinyl. And yet, it was the safest place any of them knew. He taught them how to listen to color, how to hide messages between brushstrokes, how to let truth hurt before it heals. Julian himself never painted when they were around. His canvas remained blank. Some days he just sat watching as these broken kids found voices in streaks and shadows. But peace never lasts long. One evening, a letter arrived, official, heavy cream cardstock. A gallery in Manhattan wanted to feature Julian in an exclusive tribute to lost legends. They offered 5 figures for the appearance, an optional book deal, and a retrospective. His students were ecstatic. "You deserve this," Ezra said. "You gave us everything. It's your turn." Julian hesitated. He remembered the hollow echoes of galleries, the dead-eyed clapping, the way people praised his pain like it was decor. Still he agreed. The day before the gallery's rep arrived, Julian couldn't sleep. He wandered into the depot just after midnight. Ezra was there, showing a new kid one of Julian's old paintings. "You see this?" Ezra whispered. "This man, he taught me that silence can speak louder than applause." Julian froze. Those words, like thunder rolling over dry bones. Suddenly, he was back in the gallery, 5 years ago, surrounded by flashing cameras and vacant praise. He'd smiled, but inside he'd screamed. He realized then he hadn't run away because he was broken. He had left because the world kept applauding his performance, not his truth. Morning came. The gallery rep arrived, sharp suit, slick hair, gold watch. He walked the depot like he was slumming it. Julian led him into a back room. Paintings covered every wall, raw, messy, untamed. But they weren't Julian's. They were the kids'. "These," Julian said, "are my legacy." The man blinked. "But your name, your brand, these aren't signed." "No," Julian said, "but they're heard." The rep frowned. "We're not interested in student projects." Julian smiled. "Then we're done here." The gallery left. So did the promise of money, press, and revival. But that afternoon, something better happened. The local librarian donated blank journals. A retired carpenter offered to build shelves. Parents began showing up, not for art, but for help. They brought younger kids donations, snacks. A movement began, not loud, not flashy, but real. Julian picked up his brush again, not to return to fame, but to keep listening, to silence, to color, to every unseen story waiting to be heard. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. Moral: sometimes silence is the only honest sound left. And when the applause fades, what remains is the truth you live for, not the recognition you died chasing. Do you enjoy our story? Kindly give us a like and comment below what you have learned from this story. Also, subscribe to our channel to encourage us, to bring you more motivating stories. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.